insightful. I hope it's been nice to you and useful. It's definitely been very good for me to be able to reflect on all the experiences that I've had and share it with all of you, really. So here we go. Just one last timeline. We have been through quite a lot, and today we're talking about mental health. This is really more of a chill discussion. There's no specific points to go over. There's no huge things to talk about. It's really just sharing our experiences with applying, because it can be quite tiring, exhausting, to be quite honest. And it's really complicated to help and find yourself and share with other people who you don't even know who they are. They just seem like this blank screen, what you want to be, and determine where you'll be for the next 4 years. I really hope that the session can be a good conversation, so we can share a little bit of what helped us and what didn't, and you also be able to utilize this. So first, a disclaimer. Of course, we are all in an extremely privileged position to be able to say, hey, we got into these amazing schools. And so, of course, we're not going to be able to talk to everybody's experiences and how they will be. However, I still think we can be quite useful and still share what our fears were and our insecurities, because especially for me, I think I've mentioned this before, but I wasn't matched through Questbridge, and then I was deferred early action from both UChicago and MIT being my top choice. I ended up getting rejected from UChicago, but then I got into MIT. It's really a wild process, but I still think I can talk about that feeling of failure, because I definitely thought I was going to be rejected. But still, while applying, I definitely, as we've mentioned, it definitely helped me so much to begin my essays early, to be able to share and review them and feel more confident that, hey, this is the best I can do. But it was still, for me, it was even more complicated during supplemental essays time, because I didn't plan myself out as much. I ended up procrastinating because of school and because I was like, oh my God, I can't write this. This is too much. And I got a little bit overwhelmed. That was very, very fun time, but it ended up working out. What I would say worked for me was having a support network. It was, well, first, largely my family, but also my friends, being able to sometimes just chill out and talk of something that was not related to college. It was time to exist as a human being in the first place. And definitely rely on them to remind you that you are not your application. Of course, we want to put our best into this application, but don't forget to live your present and enjoying your senior year of high school while you're doing so. Does anyone else want to share anything relating to what they did while applying?
I was gonna say that it's really important to just like take time during the day when you're not thinking about college, because when you're applying, it's just sort of like the main thing that's on your mind. Like that's basically all you're thinking about. So I don't know if this will help everyone, but for me, I deleted TikTok from my phone because it was very distracting. But at the same time, then I had nothing else to do. So it was just kind of like, what am I supposed to do now? So I then downloaded it on my iPad, and like every day I would take like maybe 20 minutes, and I would leave everything else like in my room, and I would just take my iPad and go on TikTok for 20 minutes and sit in the whole other room where I had access to nothing else. That was just sort of like my chill time where I thought about nothing else. And obviously I do not recommend this for everyone because you go on TikTok and you just never get off. But I think that was like a good chill time to not think about college, and also just sitting with your family and just talking about things normally. Or like also like for me and my friends, we had like sort of this pact that we would just not talk about college as much because it would just stress everyone out. So it was just kind of like we would just not talk about it unless it was really necessary. So if it stresses like some of you out, then just ignore the topic, and you don't have to like surround your whole life by that. Like you can talk about other things, and it doesn't always have to be in the conversation. So I would definitely recommend that.
Yeah, I think having like that friend support group is really important. Um, for me, man, what did I do? I don't even remember. I think a lot of it was like I reserved the weekend for my time only, and I think I really valued that time because then I could just like completely forget about everything and really just enjoy my time alone. And like personally, I'm not very much of like a social person, so I would just spend a lot of time by myself. And like Suha said, I was on TikTok a lot. But yeah, I think valuing your time is really important. So don't get too caught up in the college process.
Yeah, and when you are um involved in the college process, because of course it'll naturally take up quite some time of your life throughout the couple of months that you're applying. I would still definitely say try to enjoy it. It's not always possible to do that. But try to take that moment of like reflection and really prioritizing what you want your message to be, what you think that you accomplished in your lifetime. That's very scary to say, but what you really think that you've been through, and really living that time back, and bringing, hey, how have I grown as a person, and take that meaningfully. Try to realize, hey, this is the type of experience that made me the person that I am today, and value it. I definitely think it does. Just remembering what I've been through made me feel much more connected to my own roots. And that's definitely something that I want to continue while I'm in college. Just while going back to, hey, this is what my high school career was about. And especially because it was also at the same time, since I'm in IB, that we were all submitting all these papers that I remembered reading about in 10th grade and being like, whoa, that sounds so hard. I wonder how it'll go. And there I was doing them and submitting them. And it's quite the journey. But going there and experiencing and saying, hey, I did it. This is what it has amounted for, is valuable. And I would definitely say try to enjoy it as much as you can.
Like one tip I have for anyone who applies early, like either through the Questbridge match or just like early decision, one thing that helped me was like I had the deadlines in my head. So all like throughout, like especially for Questbridge, if you're doing that, you will never just chill until you're submitting your applications, because after you submit the main applications, then you have to do your research for your rankings, and then you have to do your supplementals if you're chosen. So after I was done with my supplementals, like then I just had to wait for the decision. I was basically just very stressed out, but I just kind of like had this date in my mind, and I was like, okay, so after this date, after I'm done submitting everything, I'm just not going to do anything for like 10 days. And those 10 days, I just did not do any more college supplementals. And in my head, I was like, okay, even if this doesn't work out, then there's the plan B, which is early decision 2, and then there's regular decision. So, like there's all these plan Bs like in your head, but you don't have to start right after. Like you can wait a couple days and just take your time, because otherwise you'll feel really burned out. So for me, I just took those 10 days. I really didn't do anything related to college in those days. I just like, did any of the school assignments and exercised, went on TikTok a lot more than the college season, just did other things. And then I got back to the process again. So you definitely should be taking breaks.
For sure. I had a period where I felt awfully burnt out. It was really, really bad for me, where I just looked at this blank screen, and like every single time that I wasn't doing something, I always felt like the weight of the other deadlines that I had coming up. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do any of this. But really try to exist is what I'm going to say. Try to exist as like yourself as a human being. It's really hard to do that like outside of being a student and a college applicant, because you think all of these things that you're supposed to be doing instead of actually enjoying yourself. I say that very personally because it was quite hard for me. But I think one of the fondest moments I have while applying was that our supplemental deadline for the match was November 1st, and October 30th was my dad's birthday. So I said, nah, and we agreed that on the night of his birthday, we would actually go to a pizza place. Namely, probably not the most responsible decision given the worldwide pandemic we're in, but it was so great to just stop. I really took that day and said, nope, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to focus on my dad. And that's what I did. I'm very good friends with my dad. We're like partners in crime because we're both huge nerds. So I really just enjoyed his company and celebrated with him. And that was so nice for me. It really was what I needed, even though I kind of needed to rush. And like I had a scholarship application due that day, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. But I didn't. I really didn't. And I think that's one of the things about like doing your application. Don't forget that one way or another, it will end. It definitely will. After the deadline, you can't submit it anymore. It's done. No matter what, you will go through it. And Sue already mentioned this a bit. Oh wait, James, you want to talk? No, okay.
Good, yeah.
Okay. Sue had just mentioned this a bit, but the waiting is definitely a little bit stressful. I was definitely downplaying that. It was really hard for me. And so do you have anything to say?
I think that week where we had to do all the supplementals, I think that was like the most stressful week for me, because I kind of stacked my list. So then I had like, I forget how many essays I had. I had over like 15 essays to do in a matter of a week. But then I think I just told myself like, after this week, you're done. So just like push through, go hard. And I think that's what really pushed me through that. So I tried my best not to have a mental breakdown during that week. I did everything I could. And then I told myself after that week, you could just, I don't know, internally die. And then I was completely fine.
Yeah, and also during that time, like if we're doing QuestBridge, it won't just be supplements. It's also going to be like CSS profile and all those other financial documents. And like for me, that was like the most stressful part, because especially like filling it out, they ask for all these tax information, and I was so confused reading all those documents. Like at one point, I just wanted to sit down and like not think about it at all because it was so stressful. And like during those times, it's like you really have to remember, like James said, like after 1 week it's over, like after however many days is going to be over. So for me, like one of the biggest motivations was like, okay, after this many days it's over, I don't have to think about it anymore. And for like in the matter of the weight, especially for a regular decision, I feel like it's really hard because you're seeing everyone else already get in, like from early decision and like even other regular decisions. So during that time, like I feel like there's so much imposter syndrome. Like everyone's just feeling low about their self-worth, and it's like, everyone else is getting in and I still don't know where I'm gonna go. So if you are in that position, like you just have to keep knowing that like everyone like has their self-worth, and so do you. So you just have to wait until you also find out your decisions, right? Like you can't keep comparing yourself to others. So I think that's probably one of the hardest times, like during regular decisions. So during that time, you just have to believe in yourself and wait.
For sure. God, even remembering it is like, oof, because it was a matter of what, a month and a few days ago. It's it was one of the hardest times for me, exactly because of what Sue has said. Imposter syndrome really hit. I felt like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to get in, and maybe worse than that. It was really the feeling that I wasn't going to be able to afford it. So I would either have to put my parents in immense debt, or then I would have to like come back to Brazil and somehow, some way, just like try to remake my life here. And just thinking about that was super difficult, and trying to understand like, hey, maybe my path in my life isn't what I thought it was going to be like. Definitely, again, take time for yourself. I think throughout this, find things that you love and do them. I had throughout application time, I had this one thing where I just watched series with my dad. That was like since summer, so that helped me a lot. Also listening to music. I mentioned this a lot with Suha, but I love the song Vienna by Billy Joel. And I think it really represents what the admissions process is like. At least it really calls me out, because it's like, if you're so smart, why are you still so afraid? And if you think you're so smart, and also like it's important to breathe out, or you're just going to live your life always thinking about the future but never actually enjoying it. And also, if you need to take time for yourself, do it. We are very privileged to have such an amazing team at Cyprus, and I definitely took a lot of care on that. My teachers were very understanding when I told them that, hey, I'm going through a really hard time right now, mental health wise, and like going through all the college applications, and I had a bunch of like immigration stuff on top of that. So I was just really stressed out. It was a little tiny ball of stress. I'm not very tall, so you can imagine the kind of stress that I was under. Definitely talk to your teachers. If you're an IB or if you're an AP, talk to Dr. Philpott. She's one of the most understanding, sweetest human beings you'll ever meet, and she cares so much. And even if you don't really feel like, hey, I don't know if I can really reach out to my teachers, try to. They're all human beings as well. It's really easy to think of them as like these people that they are there to teach you content and put grades on the system, and that's very scary. But they're definitely human beings. Like Mr. Yeah, he's amazing, and he's also a human being. He has his family, and he has feelings, and he also helps understand. So definitely talk to your teachers, talk to the people around you, have friends, have a support system that you can hold on to while you're going and you're feeling insecure, because I think it's natural to feel insecure. At least I'm the type of person that overthinks everything. So I knew I was going to already feel bad, and I told my parents, and they really helped me like push through and get to those decisions. And I think I was very thankful in the timeline, because I had like my mental breakdown, and but at the same time, I grew out of it, and I was able to understand, hey, that I won't let that letter or whatever else shows up on my portal to define me. I can't let really, after a while, these decisions depend on so much that's not up to you. And that's really sad. It's really sad that we can't say, oh my God, I completely got in, right? And it's completely objective, but it's not. The admissions officers are also human beings. And there are so many more qualified applicants than the quantity that they can actually open, because the applicant pool has grown a lot these past few years, and really fast. And really the dorms haven't. I think that's the one big thing that really changes, that really determines how much each college can have as a class. It's how much they can, especially the big ones that make everybody stay at least their freshman year, during college and the guarantee housing, that really determines how many people they can accept. So take that into consideration. And with that, again, we have all been very, very, very privileged to get into these great schools. But I really want to enforce that. My story with MIT is very interesting. As I have said several times, I really thought I was going to get rejected. And I went through this whole thing. It was like an actual breakup. I listened to Taylor Swift and I was like, that's me and MIT. That's what I'm feeling right now. So okay, yes, I got in, but I went through like the 5 stages of grief, just waiting for those decisions to come out. And I was okay when I opened that decision. I got to the mental clarity that all I can do is hope that this week will help you get it. I know it's a very individual journey, but I really want this, some of this advice to get into all of your heads. You're not what the decision says. Please, you are not, your worth cannot be defined by whatever you think what college you belong to, because trust me, if you are a good student, you will be a good student anywhere. Sure, sometimes the resources change or location, and it's okay to want to go to a really, really, really great school, but you are like, your experience at college is what you make of it. And so you can have a really, really, really great school, but if you're not using any of these things, of their resources, if you're not doing the things that you love, you're not going to be happy. That acceptance by itself, like, yeah, of course, you are going to be very excited that you got into that college. But after a while, and especially if you just stay within that community and you're like, well, everybody else in here got into this college as well, you're not going to be completely happy just based on the fact that you're there. You need to actually do things that you enjoy, and try and find yourself and what your priorities are. And the same thing is if you don't get into one of these top colleges. I mean, the opposite situation. If you don't, you can still, we have amazing state schools here in Florida. They are fantastic. And they actually, unfortunately, Fong hasn't been able to come here today. She has a message for you later, because she has an exam. But she got into this top school, and she's still heavily considering going to a state school instead of a top one of these like more prestigious schools, because that's where she believes she has the most options for herself, and where she will be happiest herself. And that's a choice that you're going to be able to make it yourself. So please do not be discouraged. If you think that your entire life is defined by where you go, because it truly isn't. It truly isn't. Your life is defined by what you do and who you are and who you choose to be. Something that one MIT admissions officer told me that really rang out to me is like, when you get into one of these top schools, right? Your ego gets way up here, but when you go there, it just completely drops. And that drop may be similar if you just don't get into one of these schools, but that if you just don't think you're smart or accomplished enough, but then it'll go up because being smart, I think sometimes is overrated, in the sense that there are so many other qualities that you can be. You can be resilient, you can be a hard worker, and we keep giving like, oh, if I do all these things and I don't work for them, then I'm great. But don't forget that your work and your work ethic is so important. And also the experiences that you bring are only yours to keep. And this is your life. And I really hope that you be as accomplished with it as you can. And really don't go by a certain measure, like rankings or something, to determine what your happiness will look like. I just rambled a lot. Does anyone else have anything to add regarding this?
So I wanted to say two things. The first one was about support systems, like Ananda was saying. So, like I don't know, like if all of you guys are religious, or like you don't even have to be like, or if you even like believe in fate. But for me, like one of the biggest support systems was like, you're gonna end up where you are meant to be. So thinking that was really helpful because I would think back to like older years like of my life, like when things happened and I really like hated what was happening in my life, or like an event that happened and I just really disliked that it was happening, and then I compared it to like like my present, and whatever that happened, like I wouldn't go back and change anything like in my life, even like if it was a bad or like upsetting time. So just thinking about that made me realize that your fate, like wherever you end up being, is where you will be happy eventually. Like like think back to the worst memory you've had in your whole life, and then think back to now, and like did things turn out okay? Like hopefully they did, and maybe that's a little bit hope that wherever you end up is going to be the best for you. And the second thing is something I found out recently, which is if you're like planning to apply to med school or like even graduate school. I'm not sure about graduate schools, but for med school, I've heard that they don't even see like what school you're coming from. They're literally just gonna look at your GPA, your MCAT, and like what you've done. So where you went to school won't even matter. Like it's gonna matter how well you performed, and what you were able to make out of the opportunities given to you. So at the end of the day, the school really does not matter. It's what you make of the experience, like Ananda said. And it's really important to just remember that, it's you that's going to the school, not the school that needs you. Like, you're supposed to go there and make the best out of every opportunity that you have. And then it's just going to go from there.
Uh, yeah. I mean, Ananda and Zilla really pretty much nailed it. I mean, well, like personally, well, like like my motto for life is like everything happens for a reason or whatnot, and I like to think like if things don't work out, then something down the road will, you know, and sometimes stuff isn't a match, but I think what really kept me through is like I knew that I tried my best, and I think I would have been a lot more disappointed if I failed with knowing that I didn't try my best. So I think valuing that is really important. So try your best. Obviously, it's like it's easy on paper to say, but you need to be satisfied with your own progress. And yeah.
Um, I'll add something on top of everybody else. I think when Ananda was going through struggles, I told her same thing as Suha would say. It's just have faith, because have faith in yourself. That's the biggest advantage you have. Now, if you think about it in perspective, right? The college is only 4 years of your life. You are gonna have marriage, you are gonna have kids, and you are gonna have a career. So even that, just say you didn't get accepted into this college, it doesn't mean anything. It just means at this moment it's not a right fit. One of my student, Christopher, I will tell you a lot more of your experience because all you guys are very successful, got into a great college. I have a student who also applied to MIT in the past. His name is Christopher. He's at UCF right now. He's doing really well. He got, enough a scholarship, and he taking care of a lot of things. He's a 4.0 student and doing aeronautical engineering. But at the time when he got rejected at MIT, I say it's fine. It's no big deal. It's remember that just owning small part of your life. Some people can be great in college or great in high school, and they fall off in college. Some people be great in college and they fall off in career. Some people will be very great in career. Their personal life is not great. So, like Jim said, just try your best. Try your best. And if you didn't get in, you just know yourself like you already try your best, and there's nothing you can go anymore. As long as you can face yourself at the end, it's matter. So when Christopher got rejected, I told him it's okay. Take that rejection letter, post on the wall, and look at it every day. And I want you 4 years later to prove MIT was wrong about you. And there are many people got accepted in a bad college, and they still turn out to be a super awesome human being. And believe in yourself. And yesterday I read a story. Yesterday it was a company called Coinbase become IPO. Coinbase is one of the crypto company. There was one person. He graduated in like a very no-name school. Like I never hear of this name. It's probably like a community college. And he graduated and he applied to Coinbase at 2012. And he applied there. He says, I want to work for you. So he write a 20-page thesis about Bitcoin. And he applied and he cold email. He was so confident that he will get hired. So he cold email the CEO of the company. Back then, there's only one person, the CEO. So he emailed him. He says, "Can you let me work for you?" And they are about to hire the first employee, so they recruit him in. They take him in. They ask him a question, and the question I posed yesterday was I posted also. I can send it to Anada also on my calculus group chat. It's a very interesting questions. I don't know if I want to read it to you. Basically, there's 100 locker in a row, and the first person will go through all the locker, will open up everyone, and second person will close every other locker, and third person will go through change every third locker, change the state. If it's closed, change it to open to close. And the fourth person had to do the same thing on the fourth locker he go to. If it's open, you change it to close to change to open. And all the way go through 100 people go through. Now, he wasn't a mathematician. He had to figure out that question within very, very short time. I think it was 5 minutes he had to figure out. So eventually he figured out in 5 minutes, and the people hire him. And they didn't even pay him in the US dollar. Actually, the company CEO pay him Bitcoins. And those of you guys know Bitcoin knows how much is a Bitcoin worth right now. So the company just says, I'll pay you in Bitcoins. And the guy is probably billionaire today, as we speaking. But he didn't go to a major college. He didn't go through, he just really believed in himself. There was a difference, right? He believed in himself. And I told Ananda the same way. I say, you don't have to get into MIT. You can go to university in Brazil and you'll be just fine. So why MIT reject you? You're gonna cry about it. There's no reason to cry. There's no worry about it. I'm sorry to expose you. She didn't really cry, but she's upset. So, but really, you just have to believe in yourself. When it comes down push and shove, it's only you are the person that's reliable. And that rejection letter or that acceptance letter, even for you guys, you got acceptance. Even like people like Anthony. Anthony, he got accepted. I says the only edge you have, you are not smarter than anyone else. And actually, you are probably in the middle tier of all the students I have. But I say to Anthony, you got into Duke, how are you going to compete with those people. One is believe in yourself, have a chip in your shoulder, fight, even though you are not, maybe not the smartest, but work like you are the smartest. Like Jim says, just give your best. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so really just trust in yourself. And I also told my student in the past too, I have my personal story in the past. My mom doesn't believe me. My mom thought I was going to become a criminal, go to jail, because I have season D in high school. And believe it or not, I have season D. I got kicked out of school when I was 8th grade in Taiwan. I was so bad. I was in the fight. I was doing all the crazy things. And my mom says, you are just gonna be useless person when I was in junior year in high school. And the summer. And I told her, says, no, I'm not gonna become a useless person. My mom says, your sister got into UF and you can't even make the Valencia. And I said to her, says, you know what, I'm gonna get into UF. I believe in myself. So within 2 years, I worked very hard without knowing language, because she was 15. Without knowing language, I fought every inches. I fought to go in from ESOL class to regular English class. I fought for taking all the AP class, although everybody disagreed with me. I do all that. And like, again, like Jim says, just give yourself the best situation. Just try your best, then you don't feel no regret. Live with no regret. I didn't send in 20 application. I didn't send in 10 application. I didn't send in 5 application. Remember, I have season Ds. I have D in typing, actually, which is how you get D in typing. That's like the stupidest thing. But as senior year, when I sent my application, I know, like, whatever faith, I really believe in faith. Like Suha says, I really believe in James says, just give yourself best. And whatever it is, just going to take care of yourself. There's nothing you can control. So I write down my application to UF, and I put in an envelope, and I sent it to a mail. And that wasn't my only application to anywhere. I didn't even send Valencia application. I just only sent one application. And I know if I didn't get in, I'm probably going to become homeless. My mom's right. And but I says, you know what? I will get in. I will get in. It didn't matter what. I believe in myself. And lo and behold, I got in. I don't know why. I don't know how, but I got in. So what I'm trying to say is, all the students here, Anana, James, and everybody else, you guys all have a very, very good advice to people. I'm just kind of summarize what you guys did. But yeah, you believe in yourself, anything can happen. If you don't believe in yourself, why will people believe in you? The guy who worked in Coinbase, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and all of them, they all have some same common denominator. It's just belief. And that's very easy said than done. Trust me, it's easy said than done. But you got to try it first, though. You have to try it as, let's lie to yourself. I believe in myself. And eventually you believe it, eventually. And there was a lot of successful example, look at Bobby Sina. When I talk to Bobby Sina, he says, I am going to run for president at 2040. I will get elected. By 2024, I'm going to run for student. By 2026, I'm going to run for Orlando mayor. And I'm going to work towards it. And he believed himself, because right now he's in Roland. He's trying to, as a freshman, he's trying to run for class president and stuff like that. And that's the thing, that it is not about how smart you are. It's how much trust you have to yourself. All right. So I'm sorry, that was something I like to add. I thought it's
Of course,
very
of course.
interesting for a lot of people. Yeah, I'll stop talking.
Never, Mr. Yin, never. For sure. I think we sometimes, like as a society, tend to focus on this very like material type of success. It's really measured sometimes by like numbers or like specific acceptances, or maybe even when we're older, it's like how much money you're making, and that the fact that like you're always working, and that's not necessarily the healthiest way to live your life. Really look within yourself to find what's success like for you. And if you haven't figured that out completely, that's okay too. It's a journey, right? I don't think I've completely realized what I'm going to be. I'll probably have a whole mental think about that in college, but I'm trying my best with what I have right now, and like James said and Mr. repeated, really. And it's okay to respect your emotions too. If it's totally understandable to feel sad if you get rejected. I'm not trying to downplay that either. I know neither of us are. But really in the long run, you're going to be okay. And Sue said she wasn't sure about graduate school, but yes, they do not care what school you're going to. Even in your career, they're going to care much more about like graduate school or medical school than anything else. And even then, after a while, it's you who creates your journey and the impact that you want to have within the world or your community or within yourself. It's of course there's a lot of things and a lot of perspectives that are completely out of our control. But I think that as long as we're trying to keep and stay at peace within ourselves, in the long run, we're going to stay alive. And if you focus on your happiness and your well-being, you're going to be able to help other people too. I don't think that if you focus on others before you focus on yourself, or if you're not okay with yourself and you're just trying to put everything else into maybe some situation, or trying to define yourself by, I don't know, the people surrounding you and your relationship to other people, you're not going to be happy or truly happy or satisfied if you're not accepting yourself first. And that's of course a lifelong journey. Neither of us are perfect at it. But I just really want to emphasize that you are not where you go. You really aren't, and your worth is not going to be defined by the acceptance that or the rejection that you get. It's going to be defined by the work that you put in. It's going to be defined by your happiest moments, by your saddest moments, or whatever else you want to let it define you. But it's your choice. And I'm telling you, don't let your entire perspective and your entire personality be based on what school you're going to. Try to be yourself and be happy with yourself as much as you can. And neither Fabian nor Fong were able to come here today, unfortunately. But Fong, first Fabian had a message, and his message was in all caps and very long. It was begin now, like start right now, with a lot of W's. So that was what he really wanted to say. Don't forget to start thinking about what you want, write what essays you're writing and all of that. But Fong also had her own message, and that was, I know that college application is a time-consuming process, and waiting for the decision to come out is nerve-wracking, but please stay calm and believe in yourself. Another thing to note about it is it's not chase after the name of the college, but chase after the knowledge. Don't attend a college because of how pretentious it is, but attend a college where you will learn the most for your career of interest. Also, when you choose your college, it is very important to be financially smart. Mr. A always emphasizes this. If you don't get into your dream school, it's okay. There is nothing to be sad about because life goes on no matter whether you're happy or sad. Very true. No matter what college you go to, you are still you. This is what Ananda told me. That's very true also. The college application process had teach me a lot of lessons, and I know you will learn a lot during this process as well. Lastly, good luck on your college application process in the near future. And I know that no matter what college you end up going to, you will be happy there. Fong's the sweetest. I think we all love Monk. She's great. So really, I hope that's a little bit uplifting to you. It might be it can be really stressful thinking about college, but I hope you also have the freeing knowledge within yourself that once you do your best, and you're satisfied with yourself, it's okay to feel sad, but know that you will grow out of it and you will become a better person no matter what experience you go through. Does anyone else have anything to add? I think we've all talked a lot. Okay, yeah, we're just so knowledgeable, and it was, again, we're not experts at this either. We messed up a lot. I'm saying this for myself. I have messed up a lot. I haven't been perfect. I'm still not. And yes, I have suffered a lot, but this process has, I think, made me a better person. And I hope it will help all of you grow as human beings as well. Does anyone have any questions? This can be really about anything. I just really want to take today as like a closing day. So if you have anything you would like to ask, please do so, either on the chat or if you want to unmute. Okay, just one final thing. I know you're all tired of hearing my voice after a week of doing it. But I really wanted to thank all of you for helping me in this process, especially Mr. Ye for holding and hearing me annoy him after of creating a, a conference every single day. Thanks a lot for that, Mr. Ye. And for Suha and James, who are here today and have been with me throughout this week. Fong and Fabian as well, who haven't been able to be here today. Really, you have helped me make this so much better. And it's been a pleasure to be able to talk to you and be beside you and like celebrate your wins. And be with you through your losses as well. I know we're getting through like the end of our high school career, but all of you have marked my life in a way I don't think I'll ever truly completely understand. And I also wanted to thank everybody for coming here. I hope this has been useful for you. I hope you have learned, hopefully at least a little bit. And please have the confidence and knowledge that college isn't going to define you unless you let it. And of course, we still had a bunch of tips to share about applying. Don't be scared to reach out to any of us through Remind. I'll be free. I won't archive our Remind. So please, if you have any questions, do so. We also have all of these recorded. I'll send the link after we're done here. And really, thank you so much. Thank you so much for making this week so special for me. It's been quite difficult, like being a senior this year, especially being like a whole other country right now. It kind of feels a little bit as if I was separated from what's going on within like Cypress Creek and the Cypress Creek community. But this week has made me feel a lot more connected to everybody. And there's no value for that. I can't truly just tell you how important this has been for me. So thank you so much. And I hope you enjoyed this.
If I'll do add one more thing, be very, just like Fong says, is financially smart. Do not take out any student loan when you don't have to. Please don't, because student loan will make you suffer for a long time. Now, if you go to medical school, understandable, but try to take out as little loan as possible, because you're going to be on that loan for a long time. Okay, So please, please, please make sure you make a financial smart decisions. That is the first priority when you go to college, because college are expensive and they are a little bit overpriced. So if you happen to have had to come out of pocket, it's not going to be worth it. Okay. So thank you, Ananda, and thank you for everyone. And if you ever have a question about student loan, you can ask me. I will show you how scary the number is.
Of course, and for all the texting, thank you. Oh my God, you're all very welcome. I hope this was worth it for all of you. And also, one thing that I would like is that no matter where you end up, but if you could repay this for people from the years that will come after you, I think that's the best way to thank any of us, because we don't want any of this knowledge to just end with us or with our year. So please don't forget to share. And actually, I just remember this, but one last story is that I met a person who actually started out college at a community college. That was the best for him. He couldn't afford anything else. But then he worked hard, and he transferred to UCLA. He was in state, so financially it wasn't completely awful for them. And then he actually ended up and is now a doctor in astrophysics from Harvard University. So please know that really, just to completely repeat, and I'll sound like a parrot, but believe in yourself and what you can do, because I think I can say for all of us, we believe in you too. I hope this week has been great, and thanks a lot for joining.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah, again, thanks a lot, Sue and James. It has been so much fun to catch up with all of you. And it's so different from texting, right? Just actually being able to see you. Thank you so much for coming on board with all of this.
Definitely. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you. All right, well, I gotta get going, but thank you again so much.
Of
Have a
course.
nice day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Suha,
Yes.
you owe me a flag.
Yes, I do. I still haven't. I'm actually going to visit like in 3 weeks. So if the like merchandise shop is open, I'll try to. I just
Okay.
haven't gotten the chance to go yet.
I just want to remind all you guys, no flag.
Yeah, don't worry. I know.
Yes, do not worry about it, Mr. Ye.
All right, bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.